Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story is a film obsessed with telling stories.
In the beginning, I was the actress, the star, and that felt like something. You know, people came to see me at first, but...
Rick's his dentist in New York. Well, you know our home is in New York. That's where we live.
Here I have Axel. Axel's hilarious. I think you'd like him, Dad. And my family's here. Besides you.
We hear multiple versions of the same story, from Nicole, from Charlie, from Henry, their son, and from the lawyers facilitating their divorce.
Upon hearing that he received the prize, told Nicole that it belonged to her too.
That's what people say when they win awards.
But the film is equally obsessed with how these stories are told.
As I was working on it, kind of revealed all these embedded genres and that I didn't necessarily see when I first started working on it, when I first started writing it. There is something inherently comic about this situation because it is so absurd, but there's also something inherently tragic about it. And it's also a horror movie, and it's also a thriller, and it's a court procedural, and it's a musical. Baumbach lets these genres filter through into the filmmaking process, and he's not afraid to use devices from these to reframe the narrative. Things like the monologues at the beginning, the segments of theatre and performance throughout the film, and some dialogue and blocking that feels like it's been lifted straight out of a Broadway play.
But you and I both know you chose this life! You wanted it until you didn't! You used me so you could get out of LA.
I didn't use you.
And to round off this multidisciplinary approach, Baumbach uses two songs from Stephen Sondheim's 1970 musical, Company. Music serves an important function in the film. Randy Newman's Oscar-nominated score, in its delicate and beautiful chamber orchestration, is, after all, another version of this love story. But there's something about the Sondheim songs in the final act of Marriage Story that perfectly captures the emotional essence of the film. Sondheim's Company was, at the time of its premiere, groundbreaking. It was one of the first musicals constructed in a non-linear way, and is more a collection of vignettes than anything else. The show focuses on the life of Bobby, on his 35th birthday, who reconsiders his life in the context of his relationships with his 3 girlfriends, as well as his friendships with 5 married, or soon-to-be married, couples. It was clearly, in 1970, of its time, a reaction to the sexual liberation of the 60s and the resultant degradation of the institution of marriage.
Marriage may be where it's been, but it's not where it's at.
But over the years, through revivals of the show, the musical was recontextualised, becoming more a commentary on emotional commitment and the hardships of relationships, viewed through Bobby's eyes.
And there are 5 times during the evening at the birthday party, which is seemingly a surprise party, but it's mysterious, it's surreal. His friends are there, but they're not there. They're fragments of his consciousness. And that's what made it an unusual show. It had no plot.
In a number of scenes, the musical explores the relationships between Bobby and 3 girls, Marta, April, and Kathy, who are all introduced in a song early in the first act. Written in the form of a 1940s Andrews Sisters-style trio, the sing-speak patter of You Could Drive a Person Crazy jars with the acidity of their language. The song is a satirical take on relationships and happens to contain one of Sondheim's most delectable rhymes.
When a person's personality is personable, you should not sit like a lump. It's harder than a managed or coercible to try to get...
But despite its light-hearted nature, the relationships between the 3 girls and Bobby prove to be a lot more complex than this song initially suggests. So Baumbach's inclusion of You Could Drive a Person Crazy in Marriage Story seems fitting. Nicole has moved into a new house in LA and is surrounded by new things and new people. She has created a new life for herself by giving Charlie up.
Bobby is my hobby and I'm giving it up.
But is it worth the cost?
50-50, bragging to his friends.
But I don't want to do that.
Take it. You won.
Uh-huh.
Marriage Story is constructed around a series of complex setups and payoffs. Almost every action, idea or device is mirrored in some form later on in the film, from the cutting of Charlie's hair to the 2 versions of Halloween. So it seems appropriate that Charlie's song, which is Being Alive from Company, takes place in the bar in New York where Nicole and Charlie were last shown together with their New York friends. Nicole's song is the setup for Charlie's, creating mirrored scenes, separated by the signing of the divorce papers. Being Alive is what's known in the world of musicals as the 11 o'clock number.
Someone to hold you too close.
The big show-stopping song that occurs late in the second act of a two-act musical.
Someone to sit in your chair, to ruin your sleep.
Being Alive is normally sung in a loud and fraught way, so Charlie's version stands in stark contrast. There's something very revealing about this version.
Someone to need you too much.
This song, In Company, is Bobby's attempt to rationalise his feelings about marriage and commitment, and throughout, he's interrupted by dialogue from his friends, who try and convince him that he's wrong.
You see what you look for, you know? You're not a kid anymore, Robbie. I don't think I'll ever be a kid again.
Charlie's recitation of these lines shows that he's someone who clearly knows the musical intimately, and seems similar to Nicole, to be singing for entertainment, as well as partly to show off. But there's a point when this changes.
Want something. Want something. Somebody hold me too close.
Sondheim was taught by his mentor, Oscar Hammerstein, to treat songs like one-act plays. They should move from point A to point B. A character must go through a development process and conclude something emotionally different from where he began, as Sondheim puts it. Being Alive is a perfect example of this. Bobby is struggling to understand the point of marriage, someone to hold me too close, to hurt me too deep, as he says. But he makes a realization towards the end of the song, a realization that someone can make you come alive by dealing with the struggle of being alive together.
Make me alive. Make me alive. Make me confused.
Charlie's performance has crossed into theatre as the camera slowly zooms in on him. Bobby's words have become Charlie's words as he realizes the result of what he's done and what he's lost.
But alone is alone, not alive. Somebody crowd me with love.
This is his transformation. It's clumsy, vulnerable and raw.
Somebody make me come through. I'll always be there, as frightened as you, to help.
But it's the most alive version of this song I've ever heard.
Being alive, being alive, being alive.
This nearly 10-minute sequence, from the beginning of Nicole's song to the end of Charlie's, is, in itself, a sort of perfect one-act play. Its symmetrical structure provides the framework for the emotional journeys that both characters go on. Nicole realises what she has sacrificed to gain her freedom, and Charlie starts to recognise how his actions have led to their divorce. Baumbach uses music to not only accompany these emotional journeys, but more importantly, to give a voice to something that can't be articulated in words. Music, with its abstract nature, picks up where words fail. Music, and in particular song, has a way of giving form to emotion, of transforming reality into something beautiful. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. I was so taken aback by Adam Driver's performance of Being Alive that I felt I just had to make a video about it, so I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did like this, then please put a like below and a comment, and if you haven't done so already, then subscribe to keep up to date with all my new videos. See you next time.